thank you very much to the guys, everyone at Clinician for inviting me, and Sturdy for sending me that first email to invite me here. So I'm really excited to be here today and to have the opportunity to speak to you guys and tell you a little bit about what's been working well for me and what's been working well for other therapists. So today, I'm going to be talking to you about, well, marketing to physicians, marketing to patients, but why it's selling the chronic pain solution. So we just talked about chronic pain. We talked about what the problems are. How do we sell the solution? It's my belief that we need to market to patients, and we should not be marketing to physicians at all. To achieve autonomy in physical therapy practice, we don't need to market to physicians. There's no point in doing that. You might have been doing that for a long time, and you're going down a road, and that road, in my belief, in my outlook, is not going anywhere right now. We need to get back off of that road and go on the other road. We need to market to patients. We just heard Sturdy throw up some statistics, and I have some other ones here, but there are so many people that don't know what we do. Physicians don't know what we do, and there's so many better ways to go after patients. So what we're going to talk about today are the pitfalls of the physician gatekeeper model. That's the first thing I'm going to cover. I'm going to share with you about my practice and my story marketing to physicians. I'm going to talk about the primary care physical therapy mindset. Then we're going to talk about direct access marketing. Direct access marketing is what we're doing when we're marketing directly to patients. And then I'm going to go over my top 5 things that you must do to get patients, that you must do to get new patients. All 5 of these things are things you can do by the end of the week or by the end of the day. Today, the guys at Empower and Clinician have said, tweet this, tweet it. I'm on Twitter at LEBAUER PT. Empower PT is the Twitter hashtag for today. I'm also tweeting to Cash PT and Biz PT. If you're not on Twitter as a physical therapist, I think you should be, because there's so many conversations happening on Twitter. Twitter's not the place to find new patients. It's a place to connect with other professionals in our business and our practice, and you get new ideas and you can share ideas, and it's just been a really great place for me as a physical therapist. So a little bit about me. I've got a wife and 2 kids. I spent some time in the Bay Area. I grew up in North Carolina. I love food. I mean, if you can see, this is a Korean barbecue place, and we had so much food, it was insane. When I got here the other day, I went and got 4 different types of oysters from one of the seafood places down at the Pike's Place. It was awesome. I'm really into vintage scooters, so I own 2 Vespas from the 60s and 3 Lambrettas from the 60s, and I work on them. It's a way that I can use my hands and not have to have a patient in the room. I refurbish old straight razors and shaving brushes. If you want to talk to me about that, I think it's the best way to shave. It's the least irritation, and it's vintage, and it's something to do, and it's really great. But I'm a massage therapist. I'm a yoga instructor. I teach a power yoga class every Tuesday, so I don't treat patients in the mornings on Tuesdays. I do a little bit of dropping my kids off at school, grocery shopping, hanging out around the house. I'll either go to a class at 9:30 and then teach at 12, or I teach at 12. When I'm done, I eat lunch and go see 4 patients in the afternoon. I speak, I write. I've written articles for my patients on how to get out of pain. I've produced videos on back pain and yoga, all these things. I've got 70,000 hits on views on some of my videos that I created 5 or 6 years ago on YouTube. The one thing that I did that sets me apart from almost everyone else in physical therapy is I started my physical therapy cash-based practice right out of school. I know now of a few other people who have done that in the last few years. When I did that in 2009, everyone told me I was crazy. No one told me it was possible, and there were other people who had started a cash-based practice at that point that I knew of, but the majority of the advice I got from physical therapists, from practice owners, was that you shouldn't do that. It's a bad idea. You need to take insurance. However, I've been a massage therapist since 1999, and I was already earning $85 an hour seeing patients who were in chronic pain. So I started massage therapy and got out of it. I didn't get out of it. I got out of school, and I started down a path of learning, special hands-on techniques, myofascial release training, and because one of my classmates had been doing it. And I was like, oh, this is great. She treated me. It's really awesome. All of a sudden, I started seeing lots of patients who told me that my physical therapist, chiropractor, physician, massage therapist, everyone else, acupuncturist, had never touched me or moved me in a way that reproduced my pain and helped me so much other than what you just did to me last week for 20 minutes. And I was like, oh, there's something to this stuff. So I started learning more about that. And then I became a PT because I wanted to learn more about the prognosis and physiology and help my patients more. And so I have this background as a massage therapist. And I was seeing patients for $85 an hour in PT school, and everyone's telling me, oh, you're going to go get a job and you earn $45 an hour. Maybe. And I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to do that, and there's no way people aren't going to pay me $10 more an hour to see them one-on-one in a private, quiet treatment room. So that's what I do. Oops, wrong button. What would you achieve in your practice if over 50% of your new patients were from direct access? So who here, raise your hand if you get patients by direct access, right? Who has more than 20% of their patients coming by direct access? Keep your hands up. More than 50%. More than 75%. More than 95%. Right. So my practice is 100% direct access. I get maybe 3 or 4 referrals a year from a physician. Most of the times people call and they say, oh, my physician referred us. Well, it's not the physician, it's the referral desk calling because we're close to the patient's home. And that's not even the best patient for my practice. So what would happen right now if tomorrow, all of a sudden, if you were 20% direct access, another 30% of people started calling you direct access and you didn't have to go talk to a physician about getting them? How would that feel? Yeah. Wouldn't it be awesome? So in my talk today, I'm going to show you why the successful physical therapy practice of the future needs to develop direct-to-patient marketing strategies. And I'm going to show you the 5 things you can do about it right now. This is my clinic, 100% cash-based physical therapy practice, 100% direct access. The physicians that refer patients and of those patients that come, the physicians are my patients. A lot of physicians who are my patients still refer people and they still don't come. People come to see me when it's in their own best interest to do that. And when people start to take control of their own health care, those are the patients that I want to see in my practice. I provide one-on-one treatments, manual therapy, myofascial release, soft tissue mobilization. I use the SFMA, FMS as a part of my evaluation, and I see 1 patient per hour. And I get to spend the whole time listening to patients, if that's what they need. No one is telling me I can't do 3 units of manual therapy, or we're only going to pay you 50% of that 2nd unit of manual therapy because that's what we're supposed to, that's just not what we do. The contract is between me and my patients only. I see my average patient 5 to 8 visits, once a week. When I ran my numbers for 2015 through, I used Square, and it showed me that the average amount of times 1 credit card was used in my practice last year was 3.4 times. So the average person is coming in using the same credit card 3.5, maybe 4 times, 4 visits. And that's significantly different than 3 times a week for 6 weeks. People miss so much less work. They get so much more out of it, and they're bought into the system that they do their work on their own at home, and they're fixing themselves. I have a waiting list of cash-paying patients in my practice, and I'm at the point where I need more therapists to cover everyone. And I'm here this week instead of treating my patients, and I've got a full week next week already set up. And I don't have to collect the payment from anyone else after their visit. I don't have to wait 30 days or 90 days. I don't have to argue on the phone for 80% of what was promised. And I make over 6 figures a year as an outpatient physical therapist, which for practice owners that might not mean much, but for physical therapists getting out of school right now with $150,000 in debt, they expect to earn 6 figures. And the best we can offer them in outpatient ortho sometimes is $54,000 or $35 an hour. I mean, that's nothing compared to the debt we have right now. And so what I'm doing is I just want to show you that this is possible because no one was doing that for me when I came out of school. No one said this is possible, and it's completely a reality. And it's reality not just for me, but for hundreds of other therapists that I interact with and help on a day-to-day basis. So we talk about direct access. So who here has more than 50% of your referrals coming from physicians? Raise your hand. Okay. What percentage of your patients are referred from the top 3 referral sources? Anyone have 50% of your patients come from the top 3? Okay. What happens if one or more of your referral sources, let's say your top referral source, 10%, what happens if they retire, they move to a different state, they now work for the hospital system that says you cannot refer to another physical therapy practice outside of our system? What happens? That's 10% of your revenue, or 20% of your revenue. That's a significant chunk of change. And we all know we're supposed to diversify our income when it comes to investing, right? What happens if you tell your patient, no, I don't think it's the herniated disc in your back that's causing your pain. I think it's the neurological system. And the physician's just told them something different. What happens if you disagree with the physician? Are you afraid of telling your patient the truth because of the consequence of maybe losing a referral source? Has anyone ever had that conversation or thought in your head when I'm talking to a patient? Anybody? I've had that, and I don't even have physician referral sources. I've been like, well, what would happen if I told this person exactly what I think? Now I don't hesitate to tell them exactly what I think because it doesn't hurt my bottom line. It only helps the patient. So for a lot of people, in a lot of practices, just three referral sources, 3 physicians may be over 50% of your income. And so we need to really diversify that. Is that going to affect the way that you care for your patients? Is knowing that the insurance company isn't going to reimburse for that 3rd unit of manual therapy or the 3rd unit of exercise going to affect the way that you treat your patients? The same can be said for dry needling. How do we incorporate this awesome new technique if someone's not going to pay for it? How do we sell that? Are you afraid of upsetting the doc? Right? Anyone here afraid of upsetting their patient's doctor? No? Okay, good. Because I know a lot of people who are like, oh, we can't do that. Your doctor said this. And that, to me, well, I'll get into that in a second, but to me, that's like going down this road of a different mindset that we need to get out of. 19 days. That's the average number of days to a physician's appointment. It takes 19 days. If I called your practice right now, who here could get me in to see me tomorrow? Who could see me by the end of the week? Yeah, who could see me by next Wednesday? That's a whole lot better than 19. The average wait time in a physician's office, 19 to 22 minutes. Right? My patients wait maximum of 5 minutes. And that's because I've gone over with the patient before me who needed that extra time. And patients understand that. 22 minutes is a world of time, especially, you got time to tweet, put a whole bunch of stuff on Facebook. It's insane. That's like not respecting my time as an individual. 13.3 minutes, FaceTime. Even if you're treating 4 patients an hour, each of your patients gets 15 minutes. 15. 15 minutes. We can do so, my point is we can do so much better than this. We already are doing so much better than this for our patients. Physical therapy is vastly underutilized. Even if we all lived in Seattle or we all lived in Bellevue, we would not compete with each other. So we have to get out of that mindset. This is called the scarcity mindset. That the person over there is my competitor. They're my physical therapy competitor. That means that there's one pie, and we're all competing for that last piece of apple pie. Where I've only ordered 12 oysters, and there are 13 of us sitting at the table. And well, I paid for the oysters, so I get 4 of them, because I get to try one of each kind. You guys have to fight for the rest. That's called scarcity. There's so much underutilization in physical therapy, it's not funny. And there's so many people that need us. They don't know what we do. So drop that here right now. Most people with low back pain go to see their physician. And this is some of the stuff that Sturdy shared with me when we were talking about what I was going to speak about today. And so you'll see some of this stuff the second time. And 7% of these people referred to physical therapists. So yeah, I can go buy lunch, spend 30 seconds with a physician trying to convince him to send me patients or try to educate him on or her on why physical therapy is the solution to their problem, but there's a better way to do that. We go directly to the patient, right to the person who has the issue, who's vested in their own health to solve their own problem. 59% of these people, or 59% of regular opioid users report back pain. The total medical costs of low back pain are $2,700 lower for patients receiving early physical therapy. That's less than 14 days. So if you're going to wait 19 days to see your physician, this is not going to apply to you anymore. You're spending $2,700 more dollars. The average cost of care in my clinic, 5 to 8 visits, is under $1,000 for my patients. The patient might be worth $1,000 in my practice. Actually, my patients are worth a whole lot more to my practice because they're going to refer their family and friends. I heard this a couple weeks ago. Patient comes in, or actually they called on the phone about their neck or back issue. He's like, also I've got knee issues. I was like, well, what's going on? I said, well, my doctor told me you have so much arthritis in your knees, I'm surprised you're still walking. And this guy's like 39 years old. I mean, it's ridiculous. What's the most ridiculous thing that you've heard from your patient recently about what their physician has told them? Anyone? Come on. What's something ridiculous?
Your hip's bone on bone.
Yeah, your hip's bone on bone. I'm surprised you're still walking. Or you're bone on bone. You need a knee replacement. You know, yes?
PT's not going to do anything for that shoulder.
Yeah, PT won't do anything for your shoulder. You've got so much arthritis in your spine. You've got the spine of an 80-year-old. I had a patient come in and told me he was told he had stalagmites and stalactites in his spine, and this guy was deathly afraid of moving because he was going to sever his spinal cord. I mean, so these statements to our patients, while well-meaning, are really harmful to them. And it's like this is the uphill struggle that I have. And you know, I cringe all the time. It's like, well, I've got back pain, and they gave me the options of we could do an injection, or we might just need to go down the road and do some surgery. And you know, the patient was never even mentioned physical therapy. This is from a physician who owns a physical therapy practice, and they're using the physical therapy practice as their post-surgical rehabilitation team, and not even all the time, because their post-op hip patients go straight home within 12 hours of surgery, and they never see a physical therapist. I mean, this is ridiculous stuff. So why am I going to go to these people to try to sell what I do? Because they don't know. They don't even know what I do. If you haven't gotten it already, internet is huge. And it's not just social media. 80% of American adults use the internet. And this is from a few years ago, and I'm sure it's higher right now. 59% of this population look up their health information online. So as Greg mentioned earlier, is like, what do you do when you hurt or you got a new diagnosis? You go to the internet to find out what it means. Over 35% of this population have used the internet to diagnose a medical condition of their own or for someone they know. And most of these people, 82%, start with a search engine, Google, Bing, or Yahoo. And probably right now it's only Google. I mean, Bing and Yahoo are so far behind, it's like we don't even need to pay attention to them. So I want to tell you a little bit about my history. So I come from a family, a long line of physicians. My grandfather was a physician. My great uncle was a surgeon. They started practice in Greensboro in 1931. My father and uncles joined in the 60s and 70s to create the largest multi-specialty practice in Greensboro, North Carolina. Greensboro is a population of 250,000 people. In Greensboro, High Point, North Carolina. Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem, the metro area is 1 million people. They moved to the Sidney F. LEBAUER Medical Center, this building named after my grandfather in 1988. And it grew and expanded until it was sold to Cone Health in 1999 as part of the managed healthcare issue. You know, doctors can't run their own business, so we should run it for you. So everyone there became employees of the hospital. So why am I telling you this? Is I am well connected in the medical community in Greensboro. I sat down with a surgeon one time and he looked at me in the face. He said, you know, when I moved to town, your grandfather fed me patients and helped me build my business. I will send you patients. Did I hear from him again? Nope. Right? My primary care physician invited me in one day, because this is the thing, is I got out of school and everyone said, you've got to market to physicians and you've got to take insurance. Well, I'm like, I'm not taking insurance, but everyone said, you've got to market to physicians. This is how you market. I don't have the money to put an ad in the newspaper. I can't put an ad on a billboard or radio, so I'll go market to physicians. That's what everyone says I have to do. That's what I'm going to go do. So I go and I meet with the primary care physician, who's my own personal physician. He called me in on a Saturday. We sat down for 2 hours, chatted about everything. I brought in one of my self-treatment balls, gave it to him, loves it. Talking to him about everything, he said, okay, well, I want you to come and meet the other physicians in our practice. And this is just for primary care. Call so-and-so. So I called Martha, the administrative person, set up a time 6 weeks from now on a Friday at lunch to come meet the other physicians. And 6 weeks go by, I kind of forget about everything. I'm like, all right, I'm doing my other things. Wednesday before, I get a phone call. Hi, this is Martha from LEBAUER. I just want to make sure that you're bringing lunch for 64 people on Friday. And I said to her, I was like, no. I was like, that was not the expectation that I had. I said, my expectation from talking to Mike Norns was that I would get to come in and meet with his colleagues. And I'm coming to meet with my colleagues. And she said, well, that's not how it works here. And I said, to her, look, I don't have the budget of Merck and Pfizer. I said, I'm a physical therapist, and I'm coming to speak with them about our mutual patient. She said, well, we're just going to have to reschedule. So if I'm well connected and I can't get a physician meeting without buying them lunch, there is a problem. It's like, there's a real problem. I'm not willing to sacrifice my integrity. I do not think that I need to buy someone lunch to talk about why they might refer me a patient. I really just don't think that that's what we need to be doing as professionals. These are our colleagues. They're specialists in medicine and we're specialists in movement. Our degrees are the same. Even if we're not a doctor of physical therapy personally, our professional level, our mindset needs to be the same. I'm not going to say anything else right now. So what is the primary care physical therapist? This is where we believe that we are the point person for our patients. We are the person that they can come talk to right now when they have pain, when they have an injury, and we know what's best for them. We know if the problem is a musculoskeletal problem or if it's a systemic problem, they need to see their medical physician. We know if patients need an MRI or not. We know if there's something wrong. If it smells like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably not a chicken, right? If it doesn't feel like a musculoskeletal problem, it probably isn't, and we're going to know that. A lot of people are afraid of missing the cancer or missing, spinal cord compression or something weird and scary. But as practicing physical therapists, right out of school, even before I was a PT in massage therapy, I knew if something wasn't being helped by massage. I knew and I know, and we can't be afraid of that because a lot of times the patients are going to make that decision on their own. I mean, they're not going to come to us bleeding and dying, and someone else is going to miss their cancer. I was in the room with a patient. My CI was told by was looking up her note and was told by the medical report that she had a reoccurrence of her metastasis in her spine. The patient had never been told this. And he started using a vibrational massage on her. She started breaking down and crying in extreme pain. And basically, she had had a reoccurrence of her cancer, and no one had told her. The physicians had not told her this. And now it's up to us as the PTs to break the news to her. We were being put into like a really poor place, but at the same time, it's like we recognize that something wasn't right, and so go check the note. Something's not right with the patient. I mean, we are the best people to help patients understand what they need when they hurt and when they're in pain. So who's a doctor, anyways, right? Those guys. You need knee surgery. I used to use the pictures of the guys with the hammer and House and Doogie Howser. Those are protected images. But I actually bought this image so I can use it. The tough guys. It's like the tough guys in school, the surgeons guys. That attitude. I mean, it's like we're very different. And I'm not saying I'm not saying physicians are bad people, but we don't need them for referrals, and we don't need them to tell us what to do with our patients. We decide what to do with our patients. This is huge. And the reason I'm going through this is because the mindset shift that needs to happen to market to patients has to happen before you start marketing to patients. If we just start marketing to patients the same way we've been doing other stuff, it's not going to work. Physician, physician, physician. Can everyone say physician for me? Physician, physician, physician. Say it, physician. Louder. Physician, thank you. Because we are also doctors, or we have the capability of being doctors. So we need to talk about other people as physicians and surgeons, your osteopath, your physical therapist, your massage therapist. Because I'm Dr. LEBAUER and I'm a physical therapist. You are a primary care physical therapist. You're the musculoskeletal expert, and you guys can be doctors or are doctors. That's mindset. It's not the term. It's not the initials. It's the mindset behind that feeling that you have as a professional. So what's possible when you position yourself as an expert in your community? For direct access marketing, number one thing we need to do is give to get. This is part of this mindset shift. You got to give something to get something back. Even if you are going to go market to physicians, which can be lucrative and can be a good thing, you can't go in asking for a handout. You have to go and give. And we already heard that. You got to go and offer something of service to people. You have to give something on your website and through your blog. Greg was talking about this extensively. You got to give something. There's so much information that we have. You can't be afraid of giving the solution. I already offer the solution to back pain on my website. I have a back pain ebook. I'm on the 3rd edition of this ebook that I first wrote one 7 years ago. I'm on the 3rd version of it because it works so well, and it's so many people get it for free. They don't read it, but what I get out of it is their contact information, their telephone number. So I can now call them and say, hey, you're hurting. I know you're hurting because you requested my ebook. What can we do about it? Direct access marketing is also about the internet. Direct response marketing. So direct response marketing is that ebook where I'm getting an action from the person, or the advertisement in the newspaper or postcard that's not just saying, we're great, choose us as physical therapy. It's saying, do you have back pain? Are you looking for a solution to your problem? Call us today for a free consultation, or call us today for your free book on back pain, or your free report for the solution that you're searching for. That's direct response. I'm directly getting a response from the person I'm interested in doing business with. Word of mouth referral, that's huge. It's number one. Everyone here gets word of mouth referrals, right? Word of mouth referrals just exceeded my online referrals last June. So for the first 6.5 years of my practice, over 50% of my patients came to me from the internet. Now it's the other way. Now it's about 55% of people are coming from word of mouth, and 48% are the internet, and 2% are somewhere else. But last week, I just saw 5 new people found me online on the internet, YouTube videos, my blog, my Google posts. The internet is so powerful, and I don't even use it to its fullest extent. And your current and past patients. Who here has a list of all their past patients and email addresses? Okay. If you don't have that, go do it. Get a list, get your email addresses for all of your past patients. This is the most valuable asset that you're sitting on that you don't know how much gold it's going to give you. One email to all of your former patients about a new program you're doing can bring in a ton of new business. And these aren't even new customers. These are people who've already done business with you. The people are more likely to do business with someone once they've already done business with you before. It's 60%. I have the statistics in another presentation. I can't remember what this percentage is, but it's huge. What's possible when you market directly to the consumer of your service versus a third party? The two problems with marketing to physicians and insurance are the insurance company's bottom line is raising the share of price of their stock. Our patient's bottom line is getting healthy and feeling better. The physician's bottom line might be getting all 45 of their patients that day service somehow, or getting through all this other stuff. Their interest is not financial in the patient coming to see us. Their interest is not in their business. It's they're this third party stuck between the insurance company and us and the patient. And there's this triangulation of service that if anyone's ever had a triangulation in their personal relationships, or you're asking someone else to tell someone else about you, it's kind of the same thing. It's this dysfunctional relationship. The top 5 things you must do to get new patients without ever marketing physicians are right here. You need to create referral partners. You get patient testimonials. You create amazing content. Get listed online because people need to be able to find you when they want to see you, and you need to get in bed with Google. Google is number 1. So referral partners. These are people in your community who aren't necessarily medical professionals, but they can be. Physical therapists, massage therapists, Pilates instructors, occupational therapists, the home health physical therapists in your community, the other practice that specializes in women's health, the owner of the health food store. There's so many different avenues that you can go down. And I use the term referral partner because this is a two-way street. We need to develop the mindset of not just asking for patients to come down the pipeline or come down the slide. We need to give something back. And a referral partnership is where we give something and we get back something too. Sometimes we have to give more than we receive at first, but what we're doing is putting down an investment, whereas this is a long-term strategy. So some of my best referral partners are a personal trainer who I helped 6 years ago, and he sends me, easily 15 new patients a year. I think last year I got 20-something new patients from him. And 20 patients from one person in a year is a lot. And I don't have to do anything anymore at all. I help him out, but it's I don't have to market or spend any money on that. And I can cultivate this with so many people. It can be physicians too. So I had a problem where my patients need to see a physician. So I had a patient who had cancer at some point, and after 3 or 4 visits, her pain was the same, and she was like, well, I feel the same, and there are a lot of other issues going on. So let's get you back to see your physician. Well, then 2 weeks later it goes by, and I email her, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? She's like, oh, well, he said everything's fine, and just gave me a sheet of exercises to do and said you'll be okay. And so it's basically, this is a black hole that I had, right? I've got a lot of black holes in Greensboro, where you send a patient out for a second opinion, and they aren't told, oh, Aaron's doing everything right. You need physical therapy, and you need these exercises. Go back to Aaron. I'm not getting supported by that. So a new sports medicine physician graduated from his residency in town, started a practice. It's actually called LEBAUER Sports Medicine, right? Right? It's no guarantee, but I invite him out for lunch, and I sit down with him. He's like, I'll send you patients. I'm like, look, I don't need patients. I need somewhere that's not a black hole. I need someone I can send my patients to when they need a medical professional's opinion, and they're going to come back to me if that's what's in their best interest. And he was like, oh. Because at that point, it's like, I've got the power in that relationship. I've sent him way more patients than he's sent me. And I didn't do anything different but change my mindset 7 years ago. And that's how we need to treat these relationships. We've got tons of patients for these guys. Shannon mentioned it yesterday morning. When you send, we've got patients that need referrals from the physicians, and the physicians are coming to him for, exposure. I mean, that is powerful. We've got that. We've got tons of patients, especially if you got their email. Chiropractors, too, have been great. Have been a great source of patients for me. I mean, it's, there's lots of people out there. We got to think outside the box sometimes. So what's worked for me? Just 2 weeks ago, I did a yoga workshop, Yoga RX for back care. I had 30 people sign up. It was $30 a person, and I got 3 new patients out of it before the course even was presented. So within the first few weeks, just from the promotion of the course, I had 3 new patients. And I made almost $600 that afternoon in an hour and a half. I mean, who wouldn't love to do that in here? Make $600 for an hour of knowledge I've already have that's really easy for me to share with people. I mean, that's easy. So for you guys, all you have to do is, if you're not a yoga teacher, you partner with a yoga teacher to do this. Co-teach a class. Create this class in a Pilates environment or a running environment. This type of thing works, and it gets new patients coming in the door, and it gives us credibility and exposure and authority and expert status. Patient testimonials. Who here routinely asks their patients for testimonials? Awesome. They can be written. They can be on your website. You can do a video and put it to YouTube, social media, and put it out on Facebook posts. But patients want to write you testimonials, and they want to do this. They don't know. They don't know that that's what we want from them. And what we have to do is ask. It's a simple thing. All we have to do is ask. One of the ways that I ask is in person. One of the other ways I ask is through an automated sequence of emails. All my new patients get on a list of, it's called an autoresponder. It's what Aweber, Constant Contact, MailChimp are. They have autoresponders, and patients get emails at a set sequence in a space and time that I decide, and in those emails, occasionally I'll ask them to write me reviews, write me referrals, tell their family and friends about us. Did you know that in our practice you don't need a physician's referral to be seen by our physical therapist? If you're having another problem, call me right now, and I'll get you set up on the schedule. Those things go in my email list. Those are part of my message to my patients. This is an awesome post that one of my patients put up on Facebook about 2 months ago. She posted this picture. I mean, it's just like, did I ask her in person? No, but I had asked her through these emails. So this stuff pops up all the time. So she was able to do wheel after her surgeon told her she should never do any more overhead lifting, overhead pressing, anything because her shoulders are so bad, I'm surprised you're still alive type of a statement. It is just ridiculous to me what kinds of statements that my patients tell me. And I really need to start keeping a better recording of these things. But it's like I'm so flabbergasted each time I forget to write it down. And it's ridiculous. But this type of thing tells other people who are having pain with yoga that I'm the person that can help them solve the issue. Same thing with people who surf, with people who play basketball, with people who just want to walk or hold their baby or care for their kids or get on the ground and play with their grandkids. The power of a patient testimonial is way beyond any marketing message that I could ever put out there. It doesn't matter, what I say in the newspaper. When this shows up on social media or on my website and a patient reads it, they call and say, I read the testimonial about the person who's just like me, and that's why I know I need to come see you. And that person wasn't referred by a family or friend. They found me online, they read my testimonial. We have to create amazing content. This is put your best stuff out. Put the best thing you know online, on the internet. How many people here have had a friend call them from across the country and say, my back hurts, what do I do? Right? My shoulder hurts, what do I do? Okay, take that and write it down. Write down the 5 steps that they need to do before they go see a local PT. Right? Step number 5 is see a local PT. Because that's the number one thing that most people should do when they have back pain. If you don't solve it with these exercises, you go see a PT. Be an information resource for your patients. You want to be the place where they go to get information and knowledge. Your blog can do that. Your website can do that. Your Facebook page can do that. When we are a resource of information, we are now the expert in our community. People look to us to help them. You can use social media, YouTube, videos, testimonials, ebooks, reports, free courses, paid courses. It's amazing what you can do, but this is the give to get to leverage marketing. We're giving away information to leverage patients' trust and contact information. So what's more powerful than someone's telephone number? If someone wants to get my information, they're going to give me their email and telephone number. And I can sit down and call them on the phone and say, hi, this is Dr. LEBAUER. I know you just downloaded my video or my book and you're having pain. What can I do to help you today? Who does that? Physicians don't do that. Their PA doesn't do that. Their referral desk doesn't do that. People come to me all the time and say, they were so bad, like the reception was so upset and cranky, and I sat there for a half hour, and all I did were exercises that I know how to do already at home. Don't get me started. We are so much better than that, and all we got to do is write it down, write an essay, write 5 bullet points. It doesn't have to be very long. That's your content, and it's in here, and all it has to do is be something you learned in school or learned last week or something you got fired up about. For me, seeing all this news about the opioids in America and the CNN report, the Huffington Post report, Washington Post, all these, and no mention of physical therapy, that gets me fired up. So I'm going to go write about that. And people are going to find it. Like Greg said, it's going to come up on search. And now people are going to start seeing me and it boosts my website. It's what we already have in us that can make us greater. We just got to get in touch with that. So this is my ebook. So it's the 7 secrets to heal your back and stay pain-free without pain medication, surgery, or injections ever again. This is the 7 things that I tell my friends. This is what you need to do when your back hurts. It's got my videos and articles and things like do yoga. Go for a walk, sit on a tennis ball. Number 7 is see a physical therapist and call us at my practice with my phone number and contact information. So you have to get listed too. So if you Googled yourself right now, would you find your information? Would you find your page, your business page? If you put in your name, if you put in Aaron LEBAUER right now, I guarantee you're going to find me. If you put in, John Smith or Mary Jones, are you going to find Mary Jones? Or are you going to find one of these weird medical databases that has the last job you worked at and the hospital's telephone number? So a lot of times I'm looking up other professionals or physicians or someone to write them a thank you note, and that's all I get is junk. So a patient is looking online for information about their health problem. What are they going to, and they want to find a physical therapist in Greensboro, what are they going to find? Or my friend told me about this great physical therapist. Her name was Marianne. I can't remember her last name, but I know she works here. Like, are they going to be able to find you? So even if you work for someone else or your employees are working for you, it behooves you and benefits you for them to have their own page on the internet that says, who they help, what kind of patients they love to treat, and links back to your website or information about where they work. I mean, there's so many other places. The APTA Find a Therapist place is like no-brainer. If you're a member of the APTA, you need to be on there because it's free. It's trusted by Google. You got social media, Google, Yahoo. There's lots of internet directories, tons of places. And this is an older strategy. It's not as prominent anymore for search engine optimization. But it works because if someone can't find you online, it doesn't matter what search engine optimization you do for your website if you just can't be found. So having a personal page on your website like LEBAUERphysicaltherapy.com/Aaron LeBauer. So when someone writes in Aaron LeBauer, they're going to find me. So if you've got a PT practice website name that doesn't say much about your practice or location, but at the end of it, you put each therapist's name, they have their own separate page, or you have your own page, or you have Physical Therapy Greensboro at the end of that URL string. I mean, it's like very simple, and we might not be able to do it, but if you have a website, you have someone that's set up for you, you have a webmaster, ask them to do that. Webmasters aren't best at search engine optimization. They're good at putting websites together. We have to direct them at what we want and what we want to do. Over 50% of my new patients find out about me online. I mean, like I said, it's still true. I mean, it's like last fall, all of a sudden, it was a lot of word of mouth. In the last month, it's like 10 new people from the internet. I found out about you online. I found out about you on Facebook, a person who I'd been friends with on Facebook for a long time. But she's like, I didn't know you treated back problems until you posted that one thing. And so Facebook is why she came to see me. And when it says, who referred you to our practice, or who can we thank for referring you to our practice? And it says internet, Facebook, Google. The majority of the time, it's something like that. Or your friend, or it's Aaron. And it's like they know me. They know me from being out in the community. Number one, get in bed with Google. If you don't exist on Google, you don't exist. Google's the #1 search engine in the world, and YouTube is number 2, and YouTube's owned by Google. You need to claim your Google business listing today. Greg mentioned this. If there's nothing else you get out of this conference, from my perspective, it's that. Get your Google business listing. If you already have it, if it's already been claimed, pimp it out. Put a bunch of photos and pictures up there. Since I took this screenshot 4 weeks ago when I made this presentation, I've got 2 more Google reviews. So I've got 25 Google reviews, and in Greensboro, no one else has more than 3. So when you search for physical therapy in Greensboro, the only one that shows up with 5-star reviews is my clinic. People call me all the time, well, how'd you hear about us? Well, you are the highest rated best physical therapist in Greensboro, because I've got 25 5-star reviews. And how do I get that? I ask patients for that. Google's my #1 referral source. I can't thank them enough, and I can't give them any more business. I can't do anything for them. So what's possible for you when you create a high-value product? What's possible for your practice when you position yourself as an expert and patients can find out about you online? So we've got a few more minutes. I'm happy to talk more about any of these things, but I wanted to open this up for questions. Yes? For my ebook. What platform do I use for my ebook? I created my ebook in Microsoft Word and converted to a PDF.
How are you capturing their emails?
Okay, so how do I capture emails? One of the easiest ways to capture emails is using AWeber. So AWeber will create the form for you. Right now what I'm doing, I'm using something a little bit more complicated. I'm using ActiveCampaign, which also will create the form, and I'm using lead pages. So I'm using a combination of things because it's a little bit better. But just to get started, getting on AWeber, that would be my #1 recommendation. And you don't put the link to the ebook right before they give you their name and email address. And you don't put it right then. You have to put it in the first email because you want people to get used to getting your emails. not getting the information before the email comes in. So the link to the ebook is you can upload it to Google Drive or Dropbox and put that link in that first email. And so once the patient opens that email, then they get access to your free information. Yes. Okay, so the question was basically, what do you recommend for someone that has restricted direct access or doesn't have direct access? You can do the exact same thing. There's a little bit more red tape. So let's say you have only direct access to an evaluation. Well, you get that in-person in for an evaluation. You let them know what you can do, and you've positioned yourself already with the local physician community. Well, if you don't have a physician you can go see, or we can call right now to get a referral, I have 3 or 4 different people I can send you to who could see you within a few days to get that medical opinion or administrative referral. It's the way we position it. Not like, oh, I can't see you, you got to see your doctor first. It's, come and see me, let me evaluate you. Even if only I can screen you, I get to meet you, form a relationship with you, and then send you off to someone else who's on my team or our team. It's the way we position this is how we get patients on board. And if we don't have direct access, we can still do all this marketing. We develop the desire and need for our product from the patients. And then when they call us on the phone, we give them that free 15-minute consult, or we book them for an appointment. Okay, let's get you scheduled for next Tuesday. And in the meantime, I'll call your physician, and you need to call and get an appointment if we can't just get a referral faxed over, or let's get an administrative referral, because a lot of times in those cases, you can get the referral if they've been seen within the last year for this problem. Or there's creative ways to not cheat the system, but repurpose and reposition the system to continue to work in this way. Yes, sir. So I've got a couple different things going on. I've got a list, I've got an email series. So if you guys aren't familiar with this, these kinds of programs or platforms, they can send out a broadcast email to everyone. So instead of me putting 1,000 emails in my Gmail account, I'm using a service to do it. Because if I just did that through Gmail, I would get flagged as spam, and my email address would all of a sudden get flagged as spam, and it'd go to no one. So you use these platforms. They also have what's called an autoresponder. An autoresponder means the day someone signs up, day 0 I send an email, day 1 I send an email, day 5, day 10, day 30, etc. And when another patient signs up next week, they still get the same day 0, 1, 5, 30. And so I'm using AWeber. I think it's the best basic one. I've moved to ActiveCampaign because it can do a whole lot more. But just getting started, I would recommend AWeber for its simplicity. But ActiveCampaign is also twice as powerful and not much more expensive. And these things are $30 a month, compared to what you might spend to, go buy 64 people lunch or put an ad in the newspaper. So we have time for a few other questions. Yes? Yes, I do. So the question was, do we do super bill or help patients get reimbursed? In my practice, we might be out of network, but insurance still pays for treatment. So when patients call and they ask, do you take my insurance? The first question I ask isn't yes or no. I talk to the patient about their problem, but when we get to the answer to that question, it's yes, all of my patients have insurance, and your insurance pays for physical therapy. It's likely to pay for physical therapy. In North Carolina, there's not an insurance plan that doesn't cover physical therapy at some aspect or to some extent, and I provide everyone with a receipt that has all the information they need. So the difference between what I do in cash-based physical therapy and what someone like, I think, what Sturdy does is out-of-network, is in out-of-network physical therapy, the practice takes on the insurance burden of filing the claim. I don't take on the insurance burden of filing the claim because I don't want to hire 2 or more people to do that for me. I want to have a very low overhead, simplified practice where I can concentrate 100% on the patient. In reality, it's easier for the patient to file their own claim than it is for me to do it for them. So what that does is that gives me highly motivated patients who want to do something about their own health, who want to participate in their health, not just get a quick fix, from a pill or something. And sometimes that takes someone being in pain for a long time to get there. I got into physical therapy from massage therapy thinking, oh, great, I'm a physical therapist. Now I'm on the front side of all this pain and chronic issues. People are going to come see me when they get hurt. And it is so far from the truth. It's people go see their orthopedic surgeon, they go see the chiropractor, or they don't do anything, they just let it linger. But yes, so I do give a super bill, and it's detailed. It has all the information my patients need, and I even have an example of that on my website. So on my blog, I've put that out on my blog, and so if you want to see that, it's up on the LEBAUER Consulting blog. All you have to do is look for receipts in the search bar, and you'll see it. Yes. My point is that in that advertising and what we talked about is it can't just be about, oh, we treat low back pain, we're physical therapists, and we're great, and we're awesome, and we've got all these highly educated people, and we're all certified specialists. The marketing message needs to come from a different mindset. It's like we need to step out of our shoes sometimes and put ourselves in the patient's shoes. What's in it for our patients? Like, what are our patients' interests? What do they want to know? Someone who's in pain and they're scared and they don't understand what we do. What do they want to know from us? Do they want to know where we went to school and what qualifications we have? Or do they want to know what can we do for them? Like who we solve? Like, one of the questions I get all the time is have you treated this before? Have you seen this before? People want to know that we've seen this before. So it's more like, instead of saying we're great, it's we help you, we help you, I got a blank now. It's more about telling people what they're going to experience. So when you come to our clinic, we get you running again, we get you back on the court again, we get you back in the field of life again. It's like, but it's even more specific than that, and that comes down to our perfect patient and our serving or selling proposition and that kind of stuff. What I do, so the question was, do I bill patients per CPT code or a flat hour rate? And what I do is I decided on what I want to earn per hour, or what I need to earn per hour, and then I break that into CPT codes. So there's somewhat this arbitrary distinction, but I do bill 3 units per hour because I see patients for 45 minutes. And in general, if I teach them an exercise they need to do at home, I put in a unit of therapeutic exercise. And I've got that broken down into what that costs. The evaluation cost is more than the treatment cost, but that's kind of how I do it. Because if you don't, the insurance companies give them a runaround and give them a little bit of a hassle. It's like, oh, we need the CPT code breakdown. But that's how I do it.
And you're supplying the diagnosis?
Yes, I supply the diagnosis code. And I use, that's one of those other things that's kind of funny. It's like we're not allowed to make a medical diagnosis, but with direct access, I have to provide an ICD-9 or ICD-10. So, but I do that. And I use the more generalized pain codes, lumbagos, cervicalgia, right shoulder pain, left shoulder pain, that kind of stuff. Anyone else? Okay, you guys can find me online, LEBAUERconsulting.com, at LEBAUERpt. You can call me on my cell phone. And if you're interested in cash-based therapy, I've got a Facebook group, the Cash PT Nation. So you can search for us on Facebook. I think that's it. Thank you very much.